Hi everyone, it's Christy here. Before I start, I just want to say thank you to all of the lovely, wonderful people who have started these art journals and junk journals, and I am so inspired and appreciative of all the free and wonderful stuff that you can find online, and so therefore I wanted to start my own, really enjoying this process. I'd love to hear from you and from the community out there. So for this video, I thought that I would show you how I'm going to put some of my signatures together. So first, what I did was I kind of picked a color theme. I have this lovely paper. There's a couple different ones. This one's like a really thick cardstock, and it's got like a handmade touch to it, as well as I had some old paper from this book, and there was a couple blanks that was so nice. I even had one like this, and I decided to keep that little bit. So I have this it's kind of like got a yellowy color to it, but I really liked it. So then that's how I started. I picked kind of this yellowy, and I decided, okay, let's do some kind of creamies, and let's add in some pink, and then we'll have a little pop of blue. So this is kind of my idea for my color scheme. We've got pink, white, cream, blue. Yeah, so what I did was I found some of these. Now I had this lined pink paper from when I was a kid, and I just kept it in a binder and just kind of kept with me. So because it wasn't quite big enough for the signatures that I wanted, what I did was I put a little bit of glue on some of the paper and let that dry overnight, and now I have like an extra little signature there because I wanted my papers to be folded in the way that I want to bind it. So what I've done here is kind of sectioned off pinks and kind of peaches. I've got white. This one is kind of like a gray color, and it's a really nice textured paper. It's a nice thick one too. So I had a couple of those left over from something, so I thought, oh well, we'll use those. We've got some blue, we've got some lined blue, and then we have some cardstock blue. And this one here had a really neat kind of shape to it, which I quite liked. I have my creams, and then I found some lovely scrapbooking paper. Scrapbooking paper is not always, when you fold it, big enough, but again, I'm okay with some of it being a little smaller, and as you can see here, I have done the same thing. If you do a score in your paper and then you give it a good glue, put it under something really heavy and let it sit overnight, then it usually works out pretty good. So I kind of separated them into its own categories because I want the book to flow together nicely. So I'm going to put a little bit of each in each book. And for this one, I'm just going to pick one that I really like, which I really like this. Again, this is one that I put together, and I used some washi tape there, not to actually hold it because the glue is going to hold it, but just to give it a little something extra. So I did that. So I'm going to start with this because I like to build up my book so that it's kind of small and gets bigger. So I'm going to kind of push some of these to the side, and I'm just going to play a little bit. So this is what I want my front cover to be. So we're going to open it up, and we're just going to play. So kind of like how this looks. I have pre-measured this to the book that I want to fit them into, so I do know that none of the pages are exceeding the actual book, which is lovely. I really like this one, so I'm trying to see how we can get that one in here. See how that is quite nice there? It just shows a little tiny bit, but it gives interest to the book, because who wants to write or journal in a book that is kind of boring and ugly? I sure don't. I really enjoy seeing pretty things. And again, we'll have to add some more stuff to this, but this is just my process of picking papers. Quite like that as well. got quite a bit of pink, so let's get some white. So I've got some nice thick white cardstock here. I like the idea of mixing creams and whites. I also quite like things that don't match, which, you know, you may not, and that's okay. Oh, I'm not liking that. That looks pretty good. I like the way that looks. So I've got 1, 2, only 3, and I think I want to do 6 in each. And you may not see every single one, which is okay, but you want it to be pleasing to the eye when you open it up, I think. A little bit longer. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I think that's pretty good. I'm going to keep going and keep playing, and yeah. See, you don't actually see this, but when you go through the book you will. So I think that that looks good. So I don't feel like I need any more to be shown necessarily. So we're going to just kind of start filling it up nicely now. Nice blue piece in here. Maybe see, I like it sometimes when things aren't the exact same size. You know, it just gives it some... Ooh, see, that looks pretty. So if you're going to open up your book like that, that looks pretty, right? So we'll count. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 signatures. So we've got our first one. That's lovely. I think that looks really pretty. Now when I'm going to do this, I'm going to make sure that everything's lined up properly before I start actually sewing it. But that's pleasing to the eye, the way that those kind of build up together. So if you like this, please join me again. I'll be back. And thank you for your time. Have a wonderful evening.